Hello everyone, this is Dr. Santosh. Please subscribe the channel, like the video and press the bell button. Now today we will be talking about jaundice. So jaundice its types, then the causes of these types of jaundice, and then we will talk about the associated bilirubinemia. Now I have given the color coding to this bilirubinemia. Those jaundice which is associated with the isolated unconjugated bilirubinemia has been made red, as you can see here, and those which are associated with conjugated hyperbilirubinemia, isolated conjugated hyperbilirubinemia, I have made them green, as you can see here, and those which is associated with both, I have made them black. So you can see only one black is there. So now let's talk about the types of jaundice. So there are three types of jaundice. So first, let me talk about this congenital jaundice. There are three types of jaundice: congenital jaundice, then acquired jaundice, and neonatal jaundice. So let me first talk about this neonatal jaundice. So neonatal jaundice occurs just after the birth, and just after the birth, within 3 days of birth, and then it lasts for about 2 weeks, and peak of hyperbilirubinemia on conjugated unconjugated bilirubinemia will be in within 1 week, at the last of 1 week. And this jaundice is because of increased RBC lysis, because this newborn has fetal hemoglobin. So increased RBC lysis of fetal hemoglobin, and then there will be decreased conjugation of this hemoglobin, and end result of both will be isolated unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia. Now let's talk about this congenital jaundice. So congenital jaundice are of 5 types. So first three have isolated unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia, and this Dubin, Johansen and Rotter have isolated conjugated hyperbilirubinemia. Now Crigler-Najjar syndrome, the difference, this all Crigler-Najjar syndrome 1, 2 and Gilbert syndrome, they are all because of deficiency of only one enzyme called UTP glucuronide transferase 1A1, and this enzyme is deficient, most deficient in Crigler-Najjar 1 syndrome. Here the enzyme is almost zero. In this condition, Crigler-Najjar syndrome 2, the enzyme level is about 10%, and this Gilbert syndrome enzyme level is about 30%. So most severe condition is Crigler-Najjar syndrome, and this is associated with kernicterus. Crigler-Najjar syndrome 2 is also associated with kernicterus, but the chronic kernicterus will be in most severe kernicterus will be in Crigler-Najjar syndrome 1, and bilirubin level will rise above 25 mg per deciliter in Crigler-Najjar syndrome. Now let's talk about this Dubin-Johansen syndrome. Dubin-Johansen syndrome is because of deficiency of MRP protein. MRP means multi-drug resistant protein, and this function of this protein is to secretion of conjugated bilirubin from hepatocyte to biliary canaliculi. So this protein falls under the group of ATP binding cassette protein, and it is other name of this protein is ATP binding cassette protein, ABCC2, and this protein is responsible for secretion of bilirubin, conjugated bilirubin. If this protein is defective, what will happen? Bilirubin secretion will not happen, and bilirubin will regurgitate back into the blood. So conjugated hyperbilirubinemia is seen in Dubin-Johansen syndrome. Then fifth congenital jaundice is Rotter syndrome. In Rotter syndrome, what happens? This protein is defective. This protein is called organic anion transporter protein 1B1, and because of this protein, what will happen? The regurgitated protein, that's normally conjugated bilirubin regurgitate, and this protein will take that regurgitated hyperbilirubin, unconjugated bilirubin, back to the hepatocytes so that it would be secreted. So defect in this protein will cause Rotter syndrome. So Dubin-Johansen and Rotter syndrome has isolated conjugated hyperbilirubinemia, and these three will have isolated unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia. Then now let's talk about the acquired jaundice. So acquired jaundice are divided into 3 types. So prehepatic jaundice. This prehepatic jaundice most commonly it happens because of hemolytic anemia, and this hemolytic anemia is associated with isolated unconjugated bilirubinemia, and this hepatic jaundice, hyperbilirubinemia plus anemia will be seen here. And in condition of hepatic jaundice, it is maybe because of some toxins, alcohol, or infection. And this in this condition, both conjugated plus unconjugated bilirubin will rise. Here in post-hepatic jaundice, this jaundice generally occurs because of post-hepatic obstruction, because of biliary canaliculi, or some second most common cause is pancreatic cancer of head of pancreas. In this two condition, hepatic jaundice and post-hepatic jaundice, there will be increase in liver enzyme also, and post-hepatic is associated with isolated conjugated hyperbilirubinemia. So this is all about the jaundice. So please subscribe the channel, don't forget to subscribe the channel, like this video, and press the bell button. Thank you for watching.